We're here today as a team from Lancaster University Management School to research at the Stevenage Bioscience Catalyst. This is a really innovative open innovation project for the biosciences to really transform the landscape of pharmaceuticals and solutions for health and well-being for the future of the UK and internationally.
On behalf of the Stevenage Bioscience Catalyst, I'd like to extend a very warm, belated welcome to the Open Innovation Campus. Stevenage Bioscience Catalyst is a joint venture between GSK and the Wellcome Trust. And the Phase 1 development that you will see was completed in December and open for business in February, was the build of an incubator and an accelerator. Multi-stakeholder investment, you'll see from the pie chart on the right-hand side where the investment has come. It's primarily GSK, Wellcome Trust, and then government through Technology Strategy Board and Business Innovation and Skills, and there was a little bit of remnant residual funding from the East of England Development Agency. Whether it's innovation or open innovation, you need a network, you need connectivity, and what we're trying to do is develop a mantra of connection and connectivity across the various stakeholders in those boxes that you see before you.
So my interest in this research project with SBC, the Stevenage Bioscience Catalyst, was to get a real in-depth understanding of how the incubation of science, the incubation of innovation actually works on a day-to-day practice. What is a group of people, in this case a fairly small team of very, very dedicated professionals, what are they doing every day to take the latest cutting-edge innovations in the pharmaceutical area through to hopefully a product launch down the line.
I've been working in a virtual biotechnology environment for the last 3 years. So the idea is that I wanted to move away from that and to come into a more professional environment and have the ability to interact not only with like-minded individuals but also with the guys over at GSK. And I think from that perspective it gives a real sense of community to interact with scientists and to interact with business people as well. So in August 2012 I decided to come to the SBC. And I think the idea behind that was very much that I needed to get Peptinovate's name out there and it needed to become a fully fledged biotechnology company. And coming here really gives you that platform to be able to speak to venture capitalists on a very much a daily basis, gives you the opportunity to come to events such as we're seeing today. It also gives you the opportunity to network and to see scientists, business people, everybody in that community that you really need to speak to on a day-to-day basis. What you need to be part of is part of the larger ecosystem.
So throughout the project we've generated a wealth of data ranging from interviews with experts, tenants here at SBC, as well as documents. We went to workshops and so on, and it was really important for me to draw out visually how those various activities hang together. So for instance, the SBC team, they're working with tenants. At the same time, they're going out to universities to discover the latest innovations and connect them with their other activities that they're already doing. And I try to represent that in what I call an activity map to really get an in-depth understanding of incubation. So the SBC team, they clearly have a strong vision of how innovation works and how they want to run the SBC Catalyst. And it was really surprising to see that the same vision was mirrored by tenants at SBC and other stakeholders that we've interviewed. So they clearly created a community and ecosystem of innovators, of scientists that have a shared vision of how they want to transform the pharmaceutical industry.
One of the things that we've learned from about how markets develop is that the way markets are represented and discussed and socialized in scientific communities is very different to how they're typically talked about in marketing texts and marketing academic papers. So quite often markets are described in terms of the categories of disease or specifically diseases themselves instead of as in terms of economic value.
The people we talked to at SBC really made it clear that digital technologies are absolutely vital for their work, in particular around the sharing of large volumes of data and also the analysis of very complex and large data sets. So pharmaceutical research is no longer about being in the lab, but also more and more about the convergence of different technologies around an offering in a particular therapeutic area.
Some of the findings that we have uncovered through this research are revealing new insights into the way we understand how markets are discovered, described and socialized in particular specialist communities of experts. And this is changing our understanding of the practices that help imagine markets become real.
So performance at SBC is an interesting and complex concept because they have many stakeholders that they need to address, and our normal understanding of performance relies on this belief that we have shareholders who expect some kind of return. For SBC, we have these long-term investments made by GSK, the UK government and the Wellcome Trust, which influences their view of performance. But of course they have many other stakeholders and they need to take these into account. The tenants who expect them to support their activities and this wider ecosystem of science that they want to build. It's this deep understanding that a rush towards metrification would be extremely dangerous, and they have boldly avoided this. In fact, they've deliberately steered away from any kind of place-based metrics that measure their performance as, say, a landlord. They're focusing on the long term. How do we understand what creates an ecosystem?
Having mapped out the activities of SBC, looked at their accounting and valuing practices and the materials and devices they use in the management of their Open Innovation Initiative, we have a much deeper understanding of how new economic models emerge and transform into health and well-being markets. Understanding SBC as an open innovation campus highlights the connecting work that SBC does through mentoring, through grant writing support and the organisation of events and the hosting of events for their tenants and firms they invite into and visit the SBC campus. These activities are beginning to make new markets. Our insights suggest that these new economic models are emerging bottom up from overlapping interconnected business models that are all being shaped and, if you like, produced by SBC. This process is driving new forms of connections which are leading to something that's sometimes referred to as the convergence agenda. This is where new technologies, new ideas about engineering, data analytics and new materials are coming together, forming solutions that are transforming existing markets. The convergence agenda is driving the types of activities that SBC socialises its tenants into. So this is important because they're generating places and spaces where conversations are more likely to happen and lead to convergence. New economic models emerge as managers, scientists, investors and policymakers socialise and construct and circulate representations of ideal or imagined structured network designs for delivering both economic and social value.